Hello everyone, welcome to this session. In this session we will discuss about SAM template. SAM is a serverless application model which will allow developers to write infrastructure as code instead of going to the console. Let's discuss this using a use case. Let's say I want to read a JSON file and insert the file contents to DynamoDB. In that case, I will have to create S3 resource, then lambda function and DynamoDB. Also, I will have to create IAM roles and policies. If I'm using my console, I will have to go to my account, then go to each services and create each services. Instead, if I'm using my SAM template, then I can use template something like this, and I can maintain it as a central repository for my project, and I can use this template to create my resources. Let's imagine I have different environments in my project. Let's say I have development environment, then sit, pat, and production. Then when we are moving from one environment to other environment, we can use the same template so that it's easy to deploy our project, and also it's easy to maintain our project for future updates. SAM is a superset of CloudFormation, so we can use all the functionalities available under CloudFormation. So these are the template sections we are going to discuss today. There are 9 templates available in SAM, and the first one is transform, and transform is mandatory for all of our SAM projects, and we will say that we are using SAM template, and we'll pass this as this line. So this line as our transform. So this is the latest version we have available. Okay, and by the way, this is my sample project, and I have downloaded this project using SAM init command. So if you want to know how to download sample project and how to set up your development machine, please watch my previous video. I have shown how to deploy and how to run our project in that video. Okay, the second one is description. This is a place where we can provide our project details, and we can write a description, and we can have pipeline or angle brackets. So let's say if I'm using pipeline, then my new lines will be retained. So in this case, I have new lines. So these new lines will be retained when I deploy my project. And if I use my angle bracket, then when I deploy my project, this will be replaced with space. Okay. So the next section is resources. So this is the most used, and this is mandatory field for us when we create our SAM template, and we can define SAM resources here, such as APIs for API gateways, then functions for step functions, or DynamoDB table, or we can also create step functions. Okay, so in this sample project, I have created resources section, and I have 3 resources defined. One is for my step function, other one is for S3 bucket, and this one is for S3 bucket as well. Here I'm saying that my step function name is this one, and the type is of function, and I have passed properties. So I have retained the minimal property here, so that it will be easy for us to understand the SAM template. Okay, and by the way, I'm using Java, so this will be my Java project directory, and handler is the place where my lambda function will be executed. So I'm saying that hello world is my package name, app is my class name, and handle request is my function name. So whenever I call this hello world function, my handle request function will be executed. And this is my bucket name, and this is of type bucket, and this will be my bucket name. We'll discuss about the conditions and these intrinsic functions later. Okay, we can also use CloudFormation resources here. So let's say if you want to use EC2 instance, we can use it here as well. Okay, so the next section is globals. So globals, we can use properties which are used commonly in our functions. So let's say I have this lambda function, and I need to define runtime environment and timeout, then memory size and other environment variables, right? So I will define it here so that I no need to refer it from the function. The function will look into my global section and it will import those variables. This is helpful when, let's say, I have two lambda functions. Okay, this is lambda function 2, and this is my lambda function 1, and the other one is, this one is 2. So in this case, I no need to write my environment variables here, right? So it will take it from here. Otherwise I need to duplicate the same values under both the functions. Okay, let's say instead of Java I use Python. Okay, and Python will use Python runtime environment. In that case, what I will do, I will retain the same thing here, but for Python I will mention it as Python here, so that this Java function will take the environment variables from our global section, and this Python will take all the variables from global sections except runtime. So the local variable section will have precedence over global variable sections. Okay, so that's the use of globals. So the next one is metadata. So in this section can be used to provide additional information about SAM template, and this metadata with this section we can use to pass our script. It can act as a placeholder for our script. For example, let's say I install my EC2 machine, and the purpose of this EC2 machine is to run my PHP program. So I need to install PHP in my machine, and I need to run HTTP. I need to install HTTP server as well as my backend SQL, right? So in that case, when I create my EC2 instance, I will pass those installation scripts under metadata. Then that script can be used to execute my command. So this is sample one, very simple metadata I used in my project. To understand our requirement better, I have a project. This is complicated one, but let's focus only on this part, metadata part. Here under resources section, I've defined instance. It's of type EC2 instance, and under metadata, I have this function from AWS. So that under metadata, I'm saying that yum install my MySQL, PHP, and the server, PHP server, and also update my index.php file with these values. So these parameters are added in my metadata, and I will call that metadata function using user data. So this is my user data section, and I will use cf init. So we can use cf command. We have different cf commands, but this is one of the cf init command. It will refer to our stack. Our stack is this stack, and it will go to resource. Our resource in EC2 resource name is web server instance, and configuration set is install and run. So when this part of code is executed, it will actually refer install and run, and it will install our services, and it will update our file. I have already installed this in my machine, and this is my CloudFormation name, and this is template, and we were discussing about this part, EC2 instance. And by the way, this is in JSON, right? I'm referring to YAML. We can either write CloudFormation or SAM template using JSON or YAML. I'm comfortable using YAML. So this is where we are passing the metadata parameters, and this will install PHP, and this is the index page. I've added this part here, so this confirms that this page confirms that we have successfully installed database, and the PHP is installed in the machine. Okay. So the next section is parameters. So we can pass values to the template at runtime. So when I deploy my SAM project, I can pass parameters, and I can define what needs to be done. Let's say I want to pass my S3 bucket name when I deploy my project. Then I can pass it using my parameters. Okay, so this is my parameter section here, and I have defined two parameters. One is environment type, and other one is bucket name. So bucket name will take input as a bucket name, and the type expected is string. Okay, and environment type, I'm passing it as either production or test, and the type is string, and I will place default value as test. Okay, so where to use this parameter? I have used it under S3 bucket. So this is my S3 bucket, and under bucket name, I name it as bucket name. So my bucket name will be my region name. This is AWS intrinsic function. So let's say my account is running under US East 1 region, then it will have US East 1 hyphen bucket name. Okay, and we are using substitute parameter. Okay, so the next section is mappings. So this is similar to lookup table, and we can relate it with our map, hash map, right? Key value pairs. So we'll hold a key, and we'll have a related value to that key. This is the mapping section I have created for my project. So what I'm trying to do here is I will create my S3 bucket, and I will name my S3 bucket as per my region and my environment. Okay, so this is my mapping name, and this is my these are my regions, and I have test as key, and value for that key is this part. Okay, so let's say if I'm running my project on US East 1, and if my environment is prod, which is nothing but when I this part, right, the parameter section, I will pass my environment type. It could be either prod or test. So if I provided a value as prod and US East 1, then my bucket name will be this one. So where I'm using this bucket, these mappings under this bucket. Okay, so here I have another interesting function which is find in map, and the parameter for my function is my map name. It's nothing but region S3 map, and I will refer to my region. So this will give my region name, and this is my input parameter. Okay, so this function will try to match this mapping, and it will check, okay, my region is US East 1 and I have passed prod, so I will get my return value as this one. Okay, then this next section is conditions. So the conditions can be used to define whether we need to create the resource or not, or we can assign value to properties based on conditions. Okay, let's say when I create my S3 bucket, and I no need to create my bucket if I have not passed my bucket name as a parameter. Okay, in that case, what I do is I will write condition section, and I will name my condition as create bucket, and this is my condition. Don't confuse with this not symbol. It's not actually not. It's an easy way to mention this function. Okay, so let's forget about this not now. Let's see this highlighted part. We have equals function, and equals will check whether my bucket name is nothing but the input parameter is null or not, it's empty or not. If it is empty, this is true, and what I'm doing is this parameter I'm passing to not function, so that true will become false. And I will use this condition under S3 bucket. So these are my S3 buckets, and I have this condition section, and this is my create bucket name, this name, and if it is true, then only my buckets will be created. Okay, and finally we have output section. So this is the place where we can write our stack outputs. Let's say I create my API gateway, and I need to know what is the endpoint for my REST, right? So in that case, I can write my REST API endpoint under output section. So in this example, I'm writing my hello functions ARN, then I will write my hello function role ARN, and also I will write my S3 bucket name here. Okay, so let's let's deploy this project to our AWS environment, and let's see the condition. So in this section, let's say first we will not pass bucket name, so that the expected output is only to create the lambda function. It should not create these two buckets. Okay, and I have this is my project, right? And I'm inside this project. This is my terminal. Okay, and by the way, you will have to install AWS CLI and AWS SAM CLI, and also if you're using Java, either Maven or Redel. So I will run SAM build command to build my project. So this will in turn call my Maven package command, right? And the build is successful. Now I will run SAM deploy --guided. So when I pass --guided, it will ask me to provide the parameters. Okay, so I'm inside this this folder, that's why it is referring to my template.yaml file. Okay, so when I do guided, the stack name, let's name the stack as SAM template. Okay, let's name it as SAM template, and my AWS region name is US East 1. So what happens here is, when we create this S3 bucket, this intrinsic function will take as US East 1. I will keep it as it is. Then the environment, if you remember, we have selected default value as test. That's the reason I get this at test. Let's keep it as test, and I will keep bucket name as empty. Okay, these are other deployment parameters it's asking. Let's create role configuration, yes. Okay, so this time it should only create lambda function and role for the lambda function, because we have not provided the bucket name. So our project is being deployed. So if you see here, it's going to create only lambda function and role. See, operations is going to take is addition of these two functions. Okay, let's wait for this task to complete. So the deployment is completed successfully, as we were discussing the output section. So I can see the output here. So this will be my function name, function URN. This is my bucket name, S3 bucket. Then this will be my URN for role. Let's go to our console and go to stacks, and my stack name is template, SAM template, and under resources section I can see only these two functions, and output section we can see these parameters. So as I said, if I was using API gateway, then I can copy the API gateway directly and I can use it under I can run the test from there itself. And this is my parameter section, and we have two parameters. Okay, and this is our template, CloudFormation template created by SAM. Okay, let's let's deploy this project using guided, and let's pass S3 bucket name now. Okay, so I will return everything. Environment, let's keep it as prod now. Okay, and I will pass this temp bucket as SAM test Metadata, and I will put some, because this is global, right? S3 bucket is global and we need to have a unique name. Okay, and no, I don't need to confirm. Yes. Okay, so this time we are expecting to create two buckets because we are passing bucket name here. Okay, so here it's going to add two buckets. So these are the two buckets. Let's wait for the completion. If you see our stack, it will show as update in progress. So now it is completed, so we can see the same output here. Let's verify that S3 buckets are created. Under resources section, see we have S3 bucket created, and let's verify our mapping function. So we have passed environment type as prod, and I'm running under US East 1, so US East 1 and prod. So our bucket name should be with this name. Okay, so this is my bucket name, and my second bucket is, it will take my region name as first parameter, so it took US East 1, then added my bucket name as a parameter, so I passed the SAM test Hakuna Matata 9878. Okay, hope this will help you to better understand SAM template. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel for latest updates on AWS. Thank you for watching.